What's up, guys? Peter von Panda here. Hey, I want to take you back in time when schools had computer labs because no one had computers at home. And that was when I was in grade school, dude. And I would go into the computer lab at my school and pop in a 5¼ inch floppy disk and play Oregon Trail on an Apple II and an Apple II GS if you were lucky. So I don't know if you played this game, but if you're 30-somethings like me, I think you know what I'm talking about. So thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, they came out with this, the Oregon Trail card game. I actually have no idea how it works. It's a Target exclusive. I think it says it on here somewhere. Oh, only at Target. Do you want to know where I got this? Yeah, that's right, Target. So what I ended up having to do is I had to order it online and to find a Target near me that I could pick it up at because they weren't that easy to find. I don't know why. Maybe because no one knows what the heck Oregon Trail is. But you may recognize some of this stuff. Here lies everyone, because no one actually made it to Oregon. You know, you could easily die of dysentery, break a wagon wheel, need to hunt for meat, whatever it is. But I thought I would not only unbox this, but as I show it to you, I'm going to figure out how to play this thing. Oh, press spacebar to continue. I love all the references to the computer game. But I may take this apart and learn how to play this sucker because I bet you are just as intrigued about how this works as I am. Well, so there's this kind of fold-out card here, the card game. Oh, man, this thing is kind of big, kind of daunting. I didn't think the game was too tough. Let's see what it says here. This collaborative game simulates a trip over the Oregon Trail in 1847. It's a 2,000-mile journey. The goal of the game, have at least one member of the wagon party survive. You know, you'll remember all this stuff. Short and sweet is everyone playing the game is working together to get from here to there. So it sounds like it's a collaborative game to get to Willamette Valley, Oregon. The outcome to be avoided is death, a gruesome 19th century death. If at least one member of your party makes it to Oregon, everyone wins. It's harder than it sounds. I'm sure it is because I don't think I ever made it to Oregon when I played the computer game. So here's the setup. Form your wagon party by writing the names of all the members of your party on the roster using a erasable marker. Doesn't have to be your name, but you do have to answer to it. Place the start Independence, Missouri, and finish Willamette Valley cards on the table approximately 3 feet apart. So there's really no board. You're just putting cards out. Divide the cards into 3 decks: supply cards, trail cards, calamity cards. And shuffle the deck. Deal 5 trail cards face down to each player. Players should look at their own trail cards. Place the remaining trail cards face down in a draw pile on the table. Each player receives 5. Do not deal out any calamity cards. Place all the calamity cards face down in a separate draw pile on the table. Deal the specified number of supply cards to each player. If you have 6 players, 3 cards, 5 players, 4 cards, 2 to 4 players, 5 cards. Players should look at their own supply cards and then place them face down on the table. Players may look at their own supply cards at any time, kind of like any card game. The remaining supply cards become the supply shop. The youngest player is the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper sorts the remaining cards by type, food, medicine, etc., and places them face up on the table. The first player to die will take over the shopkeeper's duty. Supply shop, example, medicine, clothes, food, and clean water cards. Here are the card types. The Oregon Trail card game features a variety of different cards. Start and finish. These cards represent the beginning and end. The supply cards, which we just kind of talked about, are used to remedy specific calamity cards. Supply cards can be played on any turn instead of a trail card. Trail cards are laid down on the table in sets of 5 as the party makes its way to Oregon. There are a few different types of trail cards. Plain old trail. These trail cards have no extra instructions or markings. Press spacebar. In homage to the old computer days. A player playing one of these cards immediately draws a calamity card and follows its instructions. See that the space card says press spacebar to continue in the corner there. River. Crossing a river is treacherous. Follow instructions on the card to try to ford the river. I remember those. Towns and forts can be played off of any trail card, and they let you draw extra supply cards or remove a calamity card from play. All right, these seem like what you really want. And calamity cards represent hazards of the trail. You may be bitten by a rattlesnake or overcome by disease. If you draw a calamity card, just follow the instructions printed on it. The person who draws a calamity card is the one who follows its instructions. So that's what you want to avoid. Now playing the game. The player born closest to the Willamette Valley, Oregon, goes first by connecting any one trail card to the start card. Oh, so you put the trail card on the start card, a little like dominoes. Once a trail has been started, players have two choices on their turns. They can either play a trail card that connects to the trail or a supply card. Any trail card will connect to a Fort Town start or finish card. Players may use either side of the trail card to connect to the trail by rotating the trail card. All right. Players who have a trail card, including forts or towns that connect to the trail, must play it unless they are playing a supply card. So it's kind of like following suit. You got to play the trail card first. If a player plays a trail card that has instructions on it, she or he must follow the instructions on the card. If the trail card reads press spacebar to continue, he must draw a calamity card and then follow the directions printed on it. Only the player who drew the calamity card follows the instructions on the card. So if you get a calamity card, you're pretty much screwed. As I always remember, when something bad happens, dude, you pretty much ended up with death. Like extreme cold. Bundle up and beat the cold with one clothing card. One round of play without a clothing card, and you may have died of extreme cold. So you play trail cards like this. So you're making trails all along the way. All right, sounds good. I'm with you so far, brother. Only trail cards are played on the trail. All other cards are played in front of the players. Okay. Some calamity cards affect only the player who drew it, and others affect the entire wagon party. Some have immediate consequences, while others require specific supplies to remedy the calamity within a certain time frame. Golden rule. When in doubt, follow the instructions printed on the cards. If the wagon breaks down or the oxen die, no one can play a trail card until the situation is remedied. Players who lose a supply card during play, but do not have their own supply card to discard, must choose another player's supply card to discard without looking at the face of the card. If a player chooses to play a supply card, his turn is then over. No additional cards are drawn, and play passes to the left. Looks like a giant note here. Players do not have to play a supply card to remedy a calamity. Actually, there may be many times when it is better strategy to let a player die than remedy the calamity. Hey, the trail's harsh. Yeah, so I guess you're saying, you know, the key is get one person there, not every person there. Players can only play one supply card on their turn unless there are only two players left in the game. In that instance, players can play up to two supply cards on a single turn. When a calamity is remedied, this calamity is removed from play, and the used supply card is put back into the supply shop, and play continues. If a player does not have an appropriate trail card or supply card to play, he must draw from the trail card pile, and his turn is then over. No trail card or supply card you can play, then you have to draw, partner. Okay. So you've got to connect trails, not like this. Like this. Okay? So, all right. I think it'll make more sense. Oh, right here. Goes into more detail. Stacking up trail cards. The trail is constructed of sets of 5 cards. When the 5th trail card is connected, the cards must be stacked. Pick up the first trail card underneath it in that set of 5 and place the other cards underneath it. So, okay. The next trail card played must connect to the trail card on top of the previous set. Okay. Which is interesting because that's kind of counterintuitive to me. I would have always thought the last card would be the next card that you'd have to match. But what they're saying is that you kind of go back in time to that first card. Ends up becoming the card that the next card has to connect to. Whatever. Trading supply cards. At any time, players may trade in 2 supply cards in exchange for 1 supply card of their choice from the supply shop. 1 player may trade in 2 cards, or 2 players may each contribute 1 card. If 2 players contribute, they must then agree on who gets to keep the supply card they receive. All right, so you're always kind of getting screwed on the trade-in, which isn't all that different from real life. Dying on the trail. When players die, they select up to 2 of their supply cards and will them to other players. Any remaining supply cards go to the supply shop. All right, so you only get 2 supply to hold on to when you die, huh? Dead players' trail cards are placed on the bottom of the trail card pile. First player to die takes over as the shopkeeper. When a player dies, the shopkeeper erases his or her name from the wagon party roster, then flips it over and writes that player's name in a short epitaph on one of the tombstones. The epitaph is then read out loud for the others to mourn the loss of that player. Oh, she never saw the measles coming, but they spotted her. Very sensitive. Ending the game. The game ends when at least one player reaches the Willamette Valley by completing the 10th set of 5 cards, reaching the finish card. If this happens, everyone wins. More likely, the game ends when the last player dies, which is exactly how I always remember it. Sample play. Chuck, Susan, Raquel, and Bob are playing the Oregon Trail card game. Chuck is the youngest, so he'll start off as the shopkeeper. The 3 decks are shuffled. Each player is dealt 5 cards. The rest of the supply cards are handed to Chuck. The shopkeeper then sorts supply cards, places them on the face of the table. So Raquel plays her first trail card, and it's a press spacebar to continue, draw a calamity card now. So she ends up drawing a calamity card and gets extreme cold. The temperature is below freezing. Bundle up and beat the cold with 1 clothing card. 1 round of play without a clothing card, and you have died of extreme cold. So right off the bat, dude, if she doesn't get a clothing card, she's screwed. Play passes to Bob, who is sitting to Raquel's left. Bob says, I have a closed card and I can spare for you. He hands the card to Chuck, who places it on the top of the other closed cards in the supply shop. Raquel removes extreme cold from play. Bob's turn is complete. Play passes to the left. All right. So there it goes. That is the extent of the instructions on this kind of quick instruction sheet. There's some other stuff in here. This is your party roster and your tombstones. And then you have this in the box. So here is your dry erase pen, I guess. And this is, looks like a die. And there is your die. And is it just me, or did I not see where you needed a die? Anyway, here are the cards. Start and finish cards and your trail cards, set of those. And here are your supply cards. You can see medicines, oh yeah, oxen, you're gonna need those. 200 pounds of food, yeah baby. Clothes, clean water, spare parts. You probably remember this stuff from the game. Bad water, starvation, inadequate grass, snake bite. I think some of these are new, but it's been a long time. Dysentery, I remember that one. Extreme cold, broken tongue, broken wheel, that one I had a lot. Broken axle, that one I had a lot. Thief, I don't remember that one. Measles, broken arm, dead oxen, typhoid, cholera, ooh, and food. Yeah, there aren't very many food cards. This game is stacked against you, dude. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So I'm looking forward to playing the Oregon Trail again after all these years. Peter Von Panda, out.